to CILT's International Day for People with Disabilities. Our theme is resisting ableism, building community and hope. My name is John Massa. I use the pronouns he, him. I am CILT Independent Living Skills Coordinator. A brief visual description of myself. I'm a white cisgender male with physical disabilities. I have short black hair and a mustache, and I'm wearing a black t-shirt. I want to thank the CILT Great Planning Team of David, Dev, Keith, Joella, and Ernie. They'll be assisting throughout this workshop, and I apologize for the late start, but welcome everyone. So I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. We begin by acknowledging that we are all joining virtually, so we may be on different treaty lands. But CILT is located in Toronto, which is the territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. We recognize the impact of historical and ongoing practices of colonialization, and those of us who are settlers are grateful for the opportunity to live, play, and work on this land. We thank, we honor, and stand in solidarity with generations of Indigenous people. We recognize the need to advance change and create a more equitable, just, and inclusive Ontario for all, especially those who experience multiple intersecting forms of oppression like disabled, Indigenous, Black, and people of color. The land is also part of Dish with One Spoon territory, a treaty between the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Anishinaabe, and allied nations to peacefully share and care for this land. All those who come to live and work here are responsible for honoring this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. So some session guidelines. We have 2 ASL interpreters. We have a captionist, so captioning should be on for those who need it. The celebration is meant to empower you with International Day of People with Disabilities history and community action, information, and resources. For privacy and time management, everyone will be muted and no video except for the hosts until questions and answers section. We will be recording the Zoom webinar, but we'll stop recording it at questions and answers section. We will be uploading the video in the next few days on our YouTube page, and we'll share it with everyone. During the Q&A, please type in your question to CILT, and we will share it on your behalf. Or if you need to be unmuted, please raise your hand. If you need tech support, please select Ernie or Dev, CILT staff in the chat box, and they will assist you. If you need peer support, please select Rebecca with CILT staff in the chat box, and she will assist you. We want to co-create a space that everyone will feel heard and respected. We are committed to ensure a safe space for all. So, event disclaimer. CILT's presentation is for information purposes only, and any products, agencies, or services are not meant as an endorsement. The opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the contributors. It may not reflect the views of CILT. Their information is current as of December 3rd, 2025, and the information given is subject to change depending on possible policy, regulation, and law changes in Ontario and Canada. For the most current information, we ask you, participants, to check the websites mentioned in the presentation and in the resources. So the agenda today, we welcome you on behalf of CILT and our connection with the UN theme. We'll talk just a brief about the UN theme for 2025, and then we'll have some great community action speakers. We'll have Rebecca Wood from the CILT Writers Drop-In, Inclusion Canada Barrier-Free Benefits Program, Ashe Community Foundation for Black Canadians with Disabilities, Disability Justice Network of Ontario, CILT Idea Project, and Frame by Frame Disabled Artist Short Films. Then we'll have a question and answer segment, and we will give resources after, and we'll thank everyone. So CILT is rooted in the Nothing About Us Without Us disability rights movement, which is the model used by the United Nations. CILT's core programs are information and referral, a volunteer program, peer support and parenting with disability network, independent living skills training, a tenant service application center, the direct funding program, and two important projects, the IDEA project and the GTA Disability Coalition, which is a number of disability-run organizations trying to do system-level change, and they are looking at making their website active within the next week or so. So I'd like to pass it on to Wendy Porch, our executive director, to talk about CILT and its work and its connection with the UN theme and our theme for today. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, John. Thank you very much. It's my great pleasure to be here with everybody today. My name is Wendy Porch. I use she, her pronouns, and I am short, dark-haired, cisgendered, white woman with physical disability. I have red lipstick on today and a black dress. I'm really thrilled to be here to talk to you all on this United Nations Day of Disabled Persons, particularly because today is a theme that speaks very directly to what we try to do at CILT every day. It's not just a theme for us. This is our day-to-day work, is building societies that are inclusive of disabled people and acknowledge our right to dignity and to choice on a day-to-day basis. Resisting ableism for us is still a daily lived expression, I think, of independent living and of us as disabled people. It means every day standing up for our right to choose, our right for dignity, and for the acknowledgement of our lives as being important, and pushing against the idea that because we have disabilities, we are problems to be managed, that we exist in a society where largely, we are told that by virtue of being disabled, there is something inherently wrong with us, versus what we know to be true, and that is there is something inherently wrong with a society that excludes disabled people. So this is very close to my heart. It's very close to the hearts of everybody that works at CILT, and I'm sure to all of you here today in community too with us. I also want to say community isn't an abstract concept for us here at CILT, and it is in fact at the core of what we do every day. Through the range of programs that John has talked about, through peer support being very important to our values, through the direct funding program, through the work that we do with partners that you've heard about around the GTA Disability Coalition, our IDEA program, work like what we're doing today. We focus on shifting the power back to disabled people. We know that an inclusive society isn't going to magically emerge. We know that it's down to us as disabled people to push for inclusion, to push for changes to policy, to make sure that we are defining for ourselves what we need and making sure that it's represented, and also to tell people who are in decision making capacities that we are important, that we deserve a place at the table, that any society that is calls itself inclusive has to include us as well. And advancing social progress for us is very much rooted in the independent living philosophy. And that's what we live on a day-to-day basis, even when it is uncomfortable for people, and even when it is we are resisting pressure to be pushed towards a more clinical, patriarchal way of thinking about us and our needs. We hold that line, and that is an important place for us to sit here at CILT and in community too. So I'm very proud to be here to talk with all of you and to also learn and listen to the amazing speakers we have today about resisting ableism and building community and hope together. Thank you all for being here and being part of this work and helping us imagine, as we do as disabled people every day and in community, what a truly inclusive society will look like, and for helping us to work towards that together. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Wendy. So today we have an excellent group of community speakers from Toronto and Ontario and Canada presenting community action programs and projects, and a collection of disabled artists and their work as acts of resistance on critical disability justice issues. I will introduce each speaker one at a time, and I'll ask each speaker to give a brief bio, give their pronouns, and provide a brief visual description of themselves and any images in their presentations. Our first speaker is Rebecca Wood, and I'm going to pass it on to Rebecca to talk a little bit about herself and the CILT's writer's drop-in.
Thanks, John. I turned on my camera, but I'm not sure if someone is going to put, yeah, there we go. My name is Rebecca Wood. I use she, her pronouns. I am the coordinator of CILT's peer support program and Parenting with a Disability Network program. And I am a writer and have poetry and creative nonfiction publications, a lot about my experience of episodic disability and being a multiply chronically ill woman. I am a white woman with a round face and long curly dark hair, and I'm wearing some glasses that are reflecting my screen for all of you. So part of what I do at CILT is run a monthly disabled writers drop-in program, and we strive to support our community in sharing and celebrating lived experience. So this writing group is an opportunity to build these skills. We meet monthly, and it's a chance for a cross-disability group of writers to connect and write in community. Each month we choose a theme, and I provide prompts to spark the creativity of both emerging and experienced writers. And then every month we take our brainstorm of the topic and lines from the writing that people have created, and we put them together to make a collective poem. So I am going to share one of our collective poems, two of our collective poems today. Thanks, John. This one is from July, and it's called Disability Celebration. All of you are invited to the celebration of disability. We will nourish our souls with cookies. We will nourish our bodies with movement. We will dance through ableism and liberation in the world. We will cry tears of sadness and joy about our disabilities. We will sing through both isolation and community. We will mingle and connect over weak and strong bodies, mad and clear minds, being both discouraged and alive. We will toast to acceptance and all the effort that goes unnoticed, all the things that we work hard on and how we make it look easy. We will celebrate secure in a space where our whole selves are welcome.
Wow. Thank you, Rebecca. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. And Rebecca will join us again for another poem before our break. And I also want to thank the CILT writers drop-in as well for putting that poem together. Our next speaker is Kabira Jamal, and she is from Inclusion Canada, and she is the regional navigator for Ontario. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and ask Kabira to put her video and to share her presentation.
Hi, everybody. I'll share my screen quickly. Mm. Mm. Greetings, everybody. My name is Kabira Jamal, and I'm a regional navigator with Inclusion Canada's Barrier-Free Benefit Program. I am a South Asian queer individual with brown skin. My pronouns are she, her. Today, I'm wearing a green knit sweater with wide eye rimmed eyeglasses. For those who are not aware, Inclusion Canada is a national federation of 13 provincial territorial associations and over 300 local associations working to advance the full inclusion of people, inclusion of and human rights of people with intellectual disability and their families. Our vision is an inclusive Canada in which people with an intellectual disability and their families are valued equally and able to participate fully in all aspects of society. So we recently launched a new program funded by the federal government. What the program helps people and their families learn about and apply for federal disability benefits. It operates till March 21st, 2027. Through the program, we can help individuals and their families learn about and apply for programs like the Disability Tax Credit, Canada Disability Benefit, Canadian Dental Care Plan, and the Registered Disability Savings Plan. Our approach is person-centered and flexible. What that means is that we meet people where they are, whether they need more time, simple explanations, or a different way of communicating. We want every meeting to feel comfortable, respectful, and easy. Our approach is flexible because everyone's needs are different. We learn from every person we support. Their experiences help us understand what works best so we can offer support that truly fits their needs. To support people better, we pay attention to the patterns we see, the needs that come up often, and the barriers people keep facing. By tracking these patterns, we hope to advocate for a system that's more inclusive, more accessible, and more reflective of real lives. The good news is that while we're working hard to reduce barriers for people, we're also seeing some positive changes from the federal government. The latest federal budget includes some positive steps that align with exactly what we're hearing from the community. To provide context, the Canada Disability Benefit was introduced to the public in June 2025 to help reduce poverty for people with disabilities across the country. It's meant to provide extra income support for people living on very low incomes. But this benefit is tied to the disability tax credit. You must be approved for the disability tax credit before you can get the Canada Disability Benefit. A lot of people don't have a doctor who can support their disability tax credit application. Others do, but they're being charged fees to get the form filled out. For people already struggling, this is a big barrier. Last month in November 2025, the government announced that it will give a one-time $150 payment to help with the cost of getting the required disability tax credit certificate. The first payments will be sent to people getting the Canada Disability Benefit before the end of 2026 and 2027. This payment is retroactive to the launch of the Canada Disability Benefit Program. This means that people will get the payment even if they apply for the Canada Disability Benefit in the earlier years. The government has also announced that they will change the law so that the Canada Disability Benefit will not count as income. This is important because it protects people from losing other supports, prevents clawbacks, and ensures that benefit isn't taxed. In simple terms, people get to keep the full amount without worrying it will reduce what they already depend on. I want to end this by saying this. Navigating federal disability benefits can be frustrating, exhausting, and sometimes disheartening. Many of you know that firsthand. Things are not perfect, and we're working to change them, but I also see something shifting. Not all at once, but in small ways. New programs and initiatives are being created. People with disabilities are being heard more, and that matters. When I talk about these benefits, I'm not saying that they fix everything. What I am saying is that they can offer moments of stability, a bit less stress around bills, a bit more room to breathe, a bit more control. And you don't have to figure it out alone. We walk through it together at your pace and based on what you need. For me, that's where the hope lives, in people being supported, respected, and not left to carry everything by themselves. Thank you.
Thank you,
Of
Kabira.
course.
And you will be available for Q&A after, as well
Yes.
as every speaker. I'm going to share our screen again. And our next speaker is Lisa Arneson, the founder and chair of Ashe Community Foundation for Black Canadians with Disabilities. I'm going to share her PowerPoint, and I'll ask Lisa to... Hi. Let me stop sharing here, and I'll upload your PowerPoint. And just tell me when to go to the next slide.
Absolutely, John. And thank you. You can go and share it now. And thank you so much. So I am a Black disabled woman. I am of Caribbean descent. I have been told several times by people who are blind of low sight in the Black community, they don't like the descriptions. So I'm kind of caught between two pieces to say, that they correct us in our community. But I just wanted people to know that I'm here, I'm strong, and I always have a pretty good presence when I talk. So my topic is Black disability justice. And our theme at SHE is Black disabled people thriving on a path they design. So it's pretty much what CILT does. This is about us as disabled people. We don't need people to design our own paths for us and tell us which path and tell us how to do it and then tell us when we did too much, or we did too little, we didn't do it right. We are working tirelessly with our partners, as you see, to make sure that the power and the control and the vision is left in the hands of disabled people, because whatever they've been designing for us hasn't been working. Next slide, please. So I'm a little bit different of a presenter. So I'm always going to talk about Black and disability. That doesn't mean that I don't mean all disabilities. What I'm really talking about is when you start to intersect different identities. So my pronouns are she, her, but others have different um, um, of identities and other ways of identifying themselves or existing in the world. Intersectionality takes into consideration those marginalized people and those voices that once more than one piece is put together. So I don't really use intersecting or intersectionality. It's more like an interlocking experience. So if you're Black, there are all these stereotypes and historic systems of oppression that still exist through colonialism. Then if you're a woman, you're dealing with all those issues of patriarchy, gender-based violence, etc. Or if you're a gender diverse person experiencing it. If you are a disabled person, then you have all of that. So when you start to think about what it looks like to have be Black and have a disability, and what it's like to be Black and a woman and have disability, be gender diverse, or come from a different community like an LGBT community or an immigrant community, what you're really getting is a lonely space. And so our work is always intersectional. It's always about resistance. And because I'm not really big on resilience, we're about resistance. We don't need somebody to psychologically assess if we're able to get through their problems that they created. Really, it's about resisting what has been put in front of us, what they refuse to remove, and how they continue to, I'm sorry, you know, tease us with little crumbs. So in the picture here, some of you may recognize a few people, but really it's just a representation over time because intersectionality wasn't created by Kimberly Crenshaw. So at the bottom in the purple, if you've never heard of Audre Lorde, please do. The master's tools, for example, will never dismantle the master's house. Sister Soldier, Ain't I a Woman? You've got the Queen of the Maroons in Jamaica. You've got Harriet Tubman. There's others. And in the middle is myself and my mother, both chronically ill. Next slide, please. We all exist. We've always existed. This isn't new. I'm not really going to talk about all our programs. Come and see us, join our network, call us, engage with us, just drop in. We love anyone that is interested in making sure that people with disabilities lead their path and not being led by others. You can go to the next one. So we have many. We have a fun, if you can go back 2 seconds, go back one slide.
Yeah.
We have several programs, and we are the first and only at the moment national charitable organization led and informed by Black disabled people. We have the Conduct K Fellowship Program, which originally was a program for women and gender diverse people. It's a career development program with a 4-month intensive mentorship or coaching model. We have Thrive, which is a refugee immigrant visionary education system. So we start to look at faith, disability, culture, and the complications they have for us in our community. We do a lot of research. We have a Black Hub. It's not up right now, but it's at the intersection of Black and disability resources. Real Knowledge Series. Call us in. Please be a part of ours. It's just a lot of opportunity for people to learn more. Financial Empowerment and Economic Wellbeing Initiative. We weren't fortunate enough, as Inclusion Canada was, to get the Benefit Navigator program. However, we went to Prosper Canada and we have a 3.5-year program, and it's more comprehensive and it's allowing people to also learn about financial health and all the other things that were said before. We have a lot of youth and Advancing Black Talent Institute, and we have the Black National Disability Coalition. Allies are a part of that coalition. So if you're interested, please reach out. Collective Liberation at the Intersection of Blackness and Disability. That's us. Next slide. If you want to reach out to us, you can partner with us or do a workshop with us, whatever you like. I'll write a proposal with us. Please let us know. If you just want to hang out with us, we're at the Wild Seed on Tuesdays. Next slide, please.
And that's it.
Oops, I gave you the wrong slides. Okay, well, that's it. I'll finish my conversation this way. The next slide was simply who we are, how to get in touch of us, look us up, and our role is, well, they always say unapologetic. Unapologetic means even if we're the hated person in the room, even if what we're saying is against 100 other disability organizations, we say it, we do it, and we're going to do it. That sometimes eliminates opportunities, which a lot of you know, because we're not speaking the language or we're not willing to work within that with that ideology. We are resisting ableism in all its forms, including within our own Black community, which is quite desperate for us because ableism, because of colonialism, is so entrenched in the Black community that it's a stigma, it's a taboo, if you have it and they know it, it is a shame on the family, and you're really told and taught to mask and don't tell anybody. And if you do, you're weak and you're not that Black excellence. So this is our work, and I'm so happy to be included in today's celebration on the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, because we work. We don't just carry our disabilities. We don't just come up and down with all the health issues or all the social issues, mental issues, and all the inclusion and all the housing, all of the things that we have. We actually have to carry this weight, like was said earlier. They're not going to do it like us. They don't interpret what we say. They interpret it through their lens. So the only way this work's going to get done is collaboratively, collectively, cross organizations, through the voices of persons with disabilities. And thank you for including Black people with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I'll ensure that the PowerPoint additional slide is sent to everyone. And maybe we can connect, and thank you very much for the excellent presentation. And I know CILT always looks forward to partnering with Ashe and working intersectional as much as possible. So thank you very much. Our next speaker is Brad Evoy. And if people could see this, can people see this? Brad is the Executive Director of Disability Justice Network of Ontario. And oops.
Hi, John, it's the interpreter. I don't see a slide.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So do people see this now?
Not as of yet.
No, I don't see it either.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
It's all good.
Brad, would you like me to share your PowerPoint, or do you want to share yours?
I will share mine now.
Okay. Without further ado, Brad is the ED of Disability Justice Network of Ontario.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, John, and thank you so much, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here with you, my friends and comrades. My name, as mentioned, is Brad Evoy. I am proudly a multiply disabled member of the Halibu Mi'kmaq First Nation, originally from so-called Western Newfoundland. I am a light-skinned Indigenous man with long black-brown hair, a short beard of the same color, wearing thick blue glasses. Currently, I'm wearing a black t-shirt with the white outline of a cat's face in a line art style. And as mentioned, I'm the executive director, the current executive director of Disability Justice Network of Ontario. Now, DJNO is a provincial organization centered in so-called Hamilton, Ontario, that aims to build a just and accessible Ontario, where we can hold the powerful to account and create a world where disabled people are free to be. As our last speaker mentioned, and I think rightly, this is not often popular work and often gets us very much in broader trouble. and is something that is really important. You know, ultimately, our work is to challenge broader spaces and institutions. And so, with that in mind, I was asked today to reflect on today's wider themes, which is resisting ableism, building community, and hope. And on days like today, it's often hard to hope, hard to dream, hard to recall what it feels like for times to be better. We live in a world driven, as it is, as David Onley once said of Ontario, as a place not of opportunity, but one of countless, dispiriting, soul-crushing barriers. And we can't look away from this material reality, friends. The promise of a barrier-free Ontario is not just a promise denied or unfulfilled, it was a structural and fundamental mirage. A story told to us to make us believe that through gradual, slow investment and effort, an ableist society would fundamentally change itself. Now, the AODA has become a shadow of a promise, an empty vessel that our hopes have flowed through onto the floor of our legislature, like water from an overfilled drain. And we have seen the crushing power of the government come to bear, not to repair these dreams or to make up for the countless years of austerity, a la Mike Harris, the former Premier of Ontario, and the many, many, many cuts that happened during his time in office to things like ODSP and so many other parts of systems that we rely on. But ultimately, to make our province just a little bit worse, we see this in Bill 6, attacking unhoused communities who are fundamentally communities that are disabled and are experiencing disablement every day that they lack affordable, accessible housing. We see this in Bill 10, which has turned the province's landlords into drug cops to prevent their own threats under the law, which immediately puts so-called supportive housing at risk and every disabled tenant under immediate threat. We see this in Bill 17, which directly incentivizes the creation of new long-term care facilities for profit, while undermining cities' ability to build above and beyond the building code. And we see this in Bill 60, which directly impacts every disabled tenant by shortening deadlines and making it easier to evict us in every possible way. It is disabled people who will suffer, who will miss connections, and miss out on clear access to justice. The federal government has done us no better. The Canada Disability Benefit, while I appreciate the earlier explanation of how to navigate those areas, is also a failure. $200 a month plus $150 soon for a one-time additional top-up if you need to get or renew your disability tax credit is not lifting anyone out of poverty in this country, this province, or this city. And Mark Carney knows it. They've heard us many times, as has every previous government. They turn our ideas for systems of support into empty signifiers and into vague promises unfulfilled. So, this is a pretty grim picture, my friends. We are living in the nonsensical aftermath of the so-called common sense revolution still, and we remain as a collective under-resourced, under pressure, and under attack. But what gives me hope is simple. We remain, and we remain fighting together. At each and every one of these junctures, we have had disabled communities coming together in direct, overt, and loud resistance. Carney, Ford, and the ruling class may act as they do, but we have not let the moment pass us by without raising hell, and not just ourselves alone. Disabled communities are often left out of wider movements. And often, we have to struggle to have some of these wider movements interconnect with us in the right way. But we know that even then, only some disabled people are centered in our movements. But instead, here in our communities, something is changing and a new force is being born. The promise of disability justice is a promise to center those most impacted, to view ourselves not as mythic, all-overcoming supercript individuals, but as full people, interdependent on each other in solidarity. We are engaging in that solidarity, my friends, with other movements every single day. We're engaging in solidarity across our disabilities and experiences, and we've brought together organizations and communities that are willing and ready to fight. We've seen this in the fight against these bills, and we've seen it too on picket lines for care workers. We've seen it on the front lines of struggle for disabled and injured migrants, and we've seen it in every movement for justice. We are there, we are integral, and our communities are everywhere. So then, my friends, we must be prepared to continue. To resist ableism is to build community. To build community is to build trust and power. And to use that power, we must resist and we must win. And we simply don't have a choice, my friends. Otherwise, we will lose our friends to MAID or to the violent waves of re-institutionalization that are gripping several provinces, like British Columbia and here in Ontario. It does not matter if a disabled person is in long-term care or a psych ward or a home care facility or a prison or an encampment or an inaccessible apartment. Every single one of us must be free to simply be. It's no longer enough to imagine a world of laws and policies to make this ableist world believe in our value. Instead, we will show them. We will show them through our power together, our power and will to act together for justice. And I call on each and every one of you here listening to me today. It's not enough to simply have a disability justice network of Ontario or BC or CILT or any number of the organizations here today. Instead, my hope is that we'll continue to build new forms of organization, new ways of coming together, because we'll always need to take the time we need, but can't rest down the struggle. So I encourage you, if you're listening, to build your own collectives, to take up the actions that speak to your heart, and to demand not a little, but everything. Disabled people are everywhere, and we deserve the fullness of the world to be ours. We cannot be kept from it by the power of the ruling class. And what would shock you is how much that is dollars and cents wise. We often talk about how little we are given through OW or ODSP or WSIB or other programs, but not about how much it is to thrive. According to the Wellesley Institute in Toronto, to thrive means we would need over $85,000 a year to meet all of our needs and to truly grow as disabled people in a healthy way. In Mississauga, that's over $105,000. Friends, very few people, let alone disabled people, have that much money and support. Now, this could be taken as a sad reality, but I don't see it that way. Instead, we have to ask ourselves, what is the limit of our hope? And in turn, how far can we imagine beyond what we are given and what it will take to get there? But to paraphrase Marx, it's not enough for us to think about how to do it, but the point is to change it. I know together we can, we must do so. But for that, we must expand our hope beyond survival, beyond accommodation, and towards building that world again where we are truly free to be. I hold hope even in the face of crushing systems of power, because I know the revolutionary power found in our communities. We are the proof we need every day that this system of profit and productivity is built on a lie, that human life does not need to be structured this way, that we can, in truth, live outside these confines with joy and fullness. And we know that these times are hard, that every second we find ourselves in struggle. But we must hold to this revolutionary optimism and never, as the now late Alice Wong reminded us at her passing, let the bastards grind us down. So with that, my friends, solidarity across every border and barrier, forever and always. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brad. I want to thank all the speakers for their excellent presentations. Really quite meeting all the themes that we're trying to set out today of resisting ableism, building community and hope. I'm going to share screen again, and I'm going to introduce our next speaker. And it is Keith Welsh, who is the coordinator for the CILT IDEA project. And I'll ask Keith to start her presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, John. So my name is Keith. I'm a white non-binary person with purple and brown hair, red glasses, and a black and tan scarf. I'm the project coordinator for the Inclusion of Disability Equity and Access project here at CILT. So we know now that a lot of other people are using IDEA as an acronym, but the way that we're using it is to center access within EDI work. It's a very exciting shift that we're seeing in the past 4 years, so hopefully that will continue. And in this work, we center independent living and disability justice as essential ways to further justice and access for our community. We hope to keep pushing for access to be included in EDI work, as well as disability being seen as a part of human diversity. So I want to start off with a quote from Stacey Park Milburn. The slide has a yellow rectangular box with black text that reads, "Sometimes I feel impatient about how much ableism has forced us to emphasize accessibility. But access is only the first step in movement building." Next slide, please. This next slide is a timeline of our project so far. So this education and advocacy program started in 2022 with a steering committee that led us to develop to develop a workshop, and now that we have run it, we've run it over 50 times for organizations across the GTA and Ontario. In 2025, we received an Enabling Change grant from the ministry, and we're able to develop specific training for healthcare providers. Amanda Dorter, one of the CILT staff, has been leading our Access Healthcare project, which includes facilitating change, train the trainer, and delivering workshops, and developing a detailed new toolkit that is currently available and free until the end of March. You can go to our website and look up the toolkit. It's free to sign up for to get a copy of it, and it includes some amazing resources and stories from disabled people. Some of our main takeaways that we highlight in our workshops are that disability is a human experience. We will all experience this in our lifetime. And access is about more than just ramps or interpreters, although those things are important too. If we can go to the next slide. So this next slide has logos of some of the various organizations where we have facilitated workshops. As we continue to facilitate workshops this fall, I also did a listening tour of previous organizations and continued to cultivate relationships. I learned about the value that we brought to communities and what else organizers were looking for. I have so many more ideas for future plans, and building new workshops, offering lunch and learns, and making our change even wider reaching. In fact, tomorrow, me and two facilitators are running a condensed version of our workshop as a webinar to hopefully over 2,000 Ontario Public Service workers, including OW and ODSP workers. So anyways, I'm really proud of this program, the opportunities that deaf and disabled people have gotten by being facilitators, and the impact that CILT has made on organizations across Ontario. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. IDEA has done a lot of excellent work, as well as access to health as well. I'm going to be passing the presentation to Rebecca to read the final poem before we take a break.
Thanks, John. And again, these are collective poems from our cross-disability monthly disabled writers drop-in, and you can find all of our monthly poems on the CILT website. This one was written in March, and it's called Hope. What gets in the way of hope? Hopelessness, helplessness, self-talk saying hope is never going to come. Life experience letdowns can make it hard to hope. But then there is sunshine. Spring comes. Self-talk says notice. The lifeline of an excited dog happy to see you. When you come back, it is the best day of their life. Resilience and tenacity live in the moment. Hopeful like a cockroach that can never be eradicated. Hopeful like a bird that can burst into flight. Burst of joyful hope. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Rebecca. I want to thank all the speakers and everyone. I'll introduce Ram from Frame by Frame and their disabled artists. I would ask that each speaker give their pronouns and provide a brief visual description of themselves and describe their films and any images in them before we show the video. So I ask that Ram, if you want to do some short intros, and will you be running the videos, Ram, or do you want me to?
Yeah, we have them here. I think we'll try. If sound works, then we'll just do it on our end. But if we're having difficulty, maybe we
Sure.
can defer to
Sure.
you. Okay.
When you share screen, make sure you have sound.
Clicked on, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Um,
tell me when to stop sharing and I'll stop.
yeah, we're good to go now if you like. Um,
Did you
so
want to introduce frame by frame a little bit? The
yeah, I'm
work?
gonna yeah, exactly. So I'll just go through a little spiel to introduce everyone and our program, and then we'll start to go through each of the films with each artist kind of introducing themselves and their work, and we'll have a little audio description for each film as well before watching it, if that works for
Okay.
everyone. Okay.
I'll stop sharing that.
Okay. Well, first, thanks so much for having us here. We're delighted. This is such a great event. My name is Ram, as was mentioned. I use the pronouns he, him. I have brown skin, no hair on my head, a beard kind of sorts, and I'm wearing a mustard colored sweater. I, along with Crystal Buemi and Kyla Atlas, who are joining us here as well, co-founded Frame by Frame, and that's an initiative that uses stop motion animation to center disabled artists, their creative voices through accessible arts programming. This past summer, we partnered with the Toronto Animated Image Society for what we're calling our inaugural summer series, made possible through the generous support of the Ontario Trillium Foundation. Shortly, you're going to see 5 films that emerged from that collaboration. So we started off in June of this past year with a simple question. What happens when we build a creative program from the ground up together? No predetermined curriculum, no fixed outcomes, just 5 artists, facilitators, and a commitment to what we call co-design. So over 4 months, we explored powerful themes that emerged naturally from our conversations, things like whole personhood, resistance rather than resilience, which we're hearing a lot of today, the ways animation can express what language cannot, and creating space where all parts of ourselves, disability, race, queerness, can exist together without compartmentalization. Um, you'll see that each of the artists chose their own materials and techniques. You'll see sand animation, clay, collage, puppetry, and drawing. Each medium selected because it felt right for that particular vision. The variety you'll see reflects something fundamental about what we learned, that centering participant agency doesn't create chaos, it creates work that traditional programming does not often achieve. As one participant told us, I felt seen in ways I haven't before. That sense of belonging, of bringing your whole self to creative work, that's what you're about to see in these films. So now we're going to have 3 of our artists who will introduce themselves and their films, and I'll have the honor of introducing the others, or maybe there's 4, we'll see, who want to introduce themselves. And then now I'll just kind of let the work speak for itself. So the first person who we'd like to share their film with you is Miles. Maybe Miles, you can jump on. And let me share my screen now and see if we can get this going. I wasn't able to click on the share sound, so it wasn't allowing me to for some reason. I guess we can test it, but maybe Miles, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and your film, and then we'll see how the audio works.
Hello everyone. My name is Miles. My pronouns are he, they. Um, I'm a black non-binary person. I have short locks and I'm wearing a navy blue sweater. Um, my animation is called A Long Night. Um, it's a sand animation and it was filmed at the same time that I was recovering from a large surgery. I was working in constant pain, which gave me the idea to transform it into a work of art. In my other animations, I like to work with looping and overlapping scenes. Uh, I thought that would make a good visual translation of how I was feeling. And working with sand was very exciting for me, but it was also challenging because it was something I'd never done before. And this summer was when I started coming to terms with my disability, and I began intentionally seeking out community with other disabled folks. I'm very proud of what I was able to make, and I'm proud of what my peers in the program created. Um, I'm proud of everyone for what we accomplished.
Okay, so here's a little audio description of the film. So this is a high contrast sand animation in deep blue and white. The visuals transition between a figure lying in a bed, a rapidly expanding and contracting spiral, and a close-up of an abstract, distressed face. Green star-shaped elements frequently appear and swirl across the images, sometimes filling the empty space or covering parts of the figure. The overall appearance is highly textural and maybe we can say unsettling. So thank you, Miles. Next, we are going to hear from Francis about their film Body. Francis, do you want to join us if you're here?
Hi. Um, my name is Frances. I'm a white non-binary person in my early 30s. I've got a brown braid down one shoulder, and I'm wearing like a tan sweater with some blue squares on it with like little wintry illustrations. My short film is called Body, and it's about coming to terms with living in and with a disabled body mind. So in 2024, I got COVID and ended up with long COVID and POTS. And this changed my life in a lot of ways. It made it a lot harder to do everything from work to seeing friends to self-care tasks. There's a phrase that's in my film that's I'm not my body, but there is no me that is not this body. And it was something that I was thinking about as I've been kind of working to come to terms with my changed body and how my life is different because of this change. I think sometimes disabled people are seen as just our bodies, but I think that being disabled is also something really beautiful and that we have our own communities and ways of being in the world that are so wise and innovative. And in the words of Alice Wong, the price is simply too high to live chasing cures because in doing so, I'm missing living my life. I know only that in chasing to achieve the person I once was, I will miss the person that I've become. So my film is about that sentiment. And thank you so much to the Taste team who helped me create this film. It's always been one of my big artistic dreams. And it was great to be able to do that in such an accessible environment with other disabled people and artists who I was able to learn so much from. And then Ram, you're gonna do the like visual description of the film, right?
Yeah, I can unless you want to go ahead and read it.
Awesome. No, I would love if you would do it. Thank you so
First,
much.
Crystal, I don't know if this was mentioned to do that, but in this case, I'll jump in. So for Francis's film Body, we can describe it as surreal paper cutout imagery that floats against a stark black background. A rain of flowers covers a miniature bed before a crumpled ball of paper unfurls to reveal a snail sliding past text that reads, "I am not my body, and there is no me that is not this body." The visual narrative shifts to a pair of hands cradling a flower that morphs into a star and then a biological cell diagram, which is finally torn apart to reveal a deer and other hidden symbols within. Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Francis. And now we're going to hear from Pri. Pri wants to join us. And take it
Hi,
away.
everyone. Thanks so much, Ram. Congratulations to Miles and Francis, and thank you so much to all the earlier speakers as well. This has been such a wonderful event. My name is Pri Rahal. I'm a brown, transmasculine person. I'm wearing thin wired glasses. I have a short trimmed beard. I'm wearing a white shirt with some gallery artwork behind me. And you can see just the top of my dark brown Chihuahua's pointy ear sticking up. She's just hanging out in my arm, and having a little nap. I'm really excited to share the film that my best friend and comrade, fellow disabled artist Delilah Hill and I created. Um, it is. Oh, I just lost my speaking notes. Just one moment. Yeah, I'm It's a stop motion film called Getting There. And I was a participant in the workshops, and this film is based on real experiences that Lila and I have had while trying to get places with public transit. While I do have access to wheel-trans, it's not always the way to go, unfortunately. And this film is just a critique of how transit and accessibility and infrastructure is kind of getting there. I think that I would like to make another film about the challenges and mishaps with wheel-trans too. But I hope that you get to enjoy the film, and I would love for Lila to share a little bit as well.
Hello. I'm Lila. I have short brown hair, brown eyes. I'm a white presenting Indigenous person wearing oversized glasses. I have a septum piercing, dark lipstick, and a purple sweater. Um, yeah, I didn't participate in the workshops specifically, but I had the privilege of co-writing the screenplay along with my best friend Pri, and we made the film quite funny and humorous vibes because that's kind of our thing, that's kind of our style. But I really hope that people still will reflect on the ableism that's showed in our experiences in this movie and able to recognize the message that disabled people deserve more humanity. Um, yeah, I'll pass it back to Pri for the audio description.
Thanks, Lila. And also, I should have mentioned this with my image description earlier, but I also just want to say thank you so much to Lisa from Ashe who shared earlier, especially the piece around hearing what she shared that there are Black, blind, and low vision folks who feel conflicted about image descriptions. And then I also want to say thank you to Asia in the chat for still stating their needs that they are somebody who finds the image descriptions helpful as a racialized disabled person. And I just want to say that I'm witnessing both those pieces and thank you for that. And for the audio description of our film, this is a stop motion film made of clay and paper set against a cloudy blue sky. The film follows two figures, one in a walker and one in a mobility device, as they wait by a signpost. The main scene depicts their struggle to enter and navigate a red subway car, moving past numerous wooden peg passengers. Close-ups show various clay faces expressing displeasure. After exiting the subway car and approaching an elevator, the figures are confronted by a small pile of clay feces on the floor. And I'll throw it back to Ram to share the screening.
Okay, thanks again so much, Priya and Lila. Fun film. And now we have Sam. I believe, Sam, are you joining us, or would you like me to go for it? Sam here? Okay, maybe Sam.
If Sam is an attendee, I will make them a panelist. I need to
I see.
find them. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
Sure.
Oh, I think they were already promoted now as a panelist, and you can share your video or have you been at?
You want to jump on screen with us if you're here?
There. There. You can, I think, share your video now.
Hello. Hi. Yay, I made it. Okay. Hi. So my work, okay, first of all, I'm Saman. I go by she, her. I am wearing a Looney Tunes shirt. I have long, curly, dark brown hair, and I have light brown skin. And okay, so my animation is quite short. So I just kind of wanted to talk about the reason why I made it is it's drawing on paper. It's done with charcoal, and charcoal is pretty messy. And I just wanted to talk about um having like a invisible developmental disability. I think like learning disability, and just how like helpless it can feel, and like how like there's a whole internal process happening that's not really seen from the outside. Um, and like kind of dealing with dissociation and stuff like that, and like just like having troubles as a kid fitting in and like being an outsider. So it's it's I'm not sure how to like there is an audio, I mean a visual description. Like yeah, she's a simple character. She has like really beady eyes that are like very like pronounced on her face because she has like bigger eyes than anything else, and like she kind of looks like an amphibian, but she's just a little girl. And yeah, we could just watch it.
Thank you so much. Um, and now we're gonna have one more film. This one is from someone who couldn't join us today, Fran Odette, who actually is the person who connected us with CILT. And maybe some of you know Fran. Fran's a writer who has worked in social justice and equity for approximately 25 plus years. Her work has particularly focused on issues impacting women and disabilities, with disabilities and deaf women. So her film is, we could describe it as an abstract mixed media animation that uses a dark, earthy color palette and combines sand animation with stop motion clay. The first part features turbulent, shifting dark on light sand imagery that reflects the poems that you'll hear, theme of a world that is constantly morphing or in motion, binding worth to velocity. Tiny colorful clay objects appear to be swept along by this turmoil. The scene then transitions to colorful clay shapes that stop motion animate to form the name Fran O, suggesting a final moment of presence and mattering outside of the chaotic rush. Thanks to all our artists, and thank you for allowing us to present today. I will stop sharing now.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you to all the disabled artists. All the films were excellent. I have a personal affinity to getting there as a person having a mobility disability. Very funny, but very poignant as well. But all the films were excellent.